like some special things jury-rigged for audio output, and it gets kind of touchy.
Yeah, it can be complicated. I know.
Yeah. Hey man, how's it going?
It's good. I'm home. I was in San Francisco last week and had an interesting time getting home, but I made it.
Yes.
Luggage.
Your luggage, or you got trouble getting home?
No, well, I had lots of trouble getting home, but I got here. So
okay. Was it the snowstorm?
Yeah, basically the way to fly to Ithaca is through Newark, and that wasn't going to work. So I went through Chicago, and that was also complicated. But
okay. Would you want to, like, this is a safe zone if you want to unburden?
No, John Candy didn't show up, so it's not that exciting.
Okay. So okay, depends on which scene you're talking about. But yeah. So yeah, so you were in there for a conference, right?
Yeah. So I went to San Francisco for the O'Reilly Design Conference. It was nicely different from most of the shows that I go to. I mean, I know you hang with more design-specific people. I've worked with designers forever, but it's always been in like either a graphic design context or a web context.
Gotcha.
And this was a lot broader.
Mm-hmm.
The keynotes were really kind of like broad design vision kinds of things that everybody could get to.
Like up with people type of things, like design will save the world.
Well, we hope so. Or the world needs a lot more designers. Like looking at the ratio of programmers to designers in the world, we could use a lot more designers. But it was really different from the stuff that I usually go to, where like we're talking about design and we're talking about Flexbox and multi-column layout and how to make all these things happen in CSS. And,
the tools to make design happen, right?
Yeah. Like I love the talk Jen Simmons gave last year, where she went out and bought a copy of Vogue magazine, and was talking about how we need to learn to do these things on the web, and that was great. But even that was like that's further out than I usually see. This was even a step beyond that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I like it's always been like a thing with web designers. I think to take print and put it into web, but the web is not print. And I love Jen's talk. I mean, she won Best of CSDevConf for the presentation, and I think if you can catch it, I think it's at Event Apart. She's speaking there, so it's a really great talk. But it's like Jeff Veen and I think Jeremy Keith will tell you, like, web has its own language, how it operates, and so I think it's like. And there's people like my dad who just like, I remember him like in the 90s, like when I was like, I want to be a web designer, I want to do all these cool looking designs, everything. He's like, I just want the information. I just want the info. I want to.
Right. Well, actually, one of my favorite moments, there was a shout out to Craigslist.
Yeah.
Which, notoriously does not pay attention to visual design, but absolutely pays attention to information design. So, that was kind of an interesting moment where I was like, yes, I'm in a different place than I usually am.
So the keynotes were kind of upper broad talks. Any talks in the sessions that you liked? Or?
I didn't get to enough sessions. The one that I really wanted to get to but didn't get to was Designing for Evil.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Which is basically about being prepared for the worst.
Oh, nice.
Because humans do these things.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I saw a great talk from Dan Saffer on creativity. A lot of the talks, they went into hardware. They went into like semantics for like the information architecture side of the world. The process of collaboration, which I love seeing in this context. I sometimes see programmers talking about collaboration, but it's mostly, how to use GitHub and do pair programming and stuff. Design collaboration just seems a lot more inclusive. And also just the whole, like, basically the design level that I've always worked on is pretty much the interface level. And hearing folks talk about experience just makes me happy. So it's good. It was kind of my favorite comment from an attendee was that it was a design show that was not afraid of technology, but it was not a technology conference.
Okay.
which for O'Reilly is amazing because we pretty much put on technology conferences. So
You said, man, not me.
I know. I chair a technology conference. I love that conference.
Yeah.
But every now and then, it's good to get out and see something broader.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I know about the design conference, but can't break out and go see it. Because I can't think I'm living in Florida, but I don't. I live in Texas, but it's still a flight to get out there. Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounded pretty good, and I like that. When I saw one photo, the venue was I wrong? There's pews. It was a church. Was that?
Oh yeah. So they held the event at Fort Mason, and
Fort Mason,
so the keynotes were in like those big warehousey spaces,
okay.
But they also had the general's quarters and the chapel, and so the chapel is probably what you saw. And, yeah, one of the speakers was like, "Wow, you could still smell the incense like deep in the wood," and yeah, it definitely had a different feel to it.
Cool, awesome. All right, and so you've been recovering from your travels with that, and Snowmageddon, Snowpocalypse. I'm not sure what you're calling it.
I didn't get any snow here, so it was all in the places I had to go through. We provided the cold. It seems unfair that we didn't get the snow.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, one thing I just been watching over and over again, the viral video of the snowboarding in New York City.
Yes.
And I just makes me laugh. It makes me smile. Not laugh, but it makes me smile every time I see it. And I've seen it too many times to mention it, really.
So your smile muscles are getting built up.
Yeah, it's just so stupid. Like, that's so silly of a movie, but it's like, but it's the guy who does it is a YouTuber, like 2 million subscribers, and so he knows he's been vlogging a daily vlog, whatever. So he knows how to edit on the fly, not on the fly, but very quickly, and he knows the cameras. He's a director, so he knows his stuff. And then, and I just love how, I always love how the production, how they build it, and so there's a making of video, which I think is even cooler than the actual the snowboarder. And I don't think and that's coming from me saying that. That's like a typical person would like, I just like the cool video that's made for MTV, Chris. Like, okay, cool. But the making of it, so he actually uses like 3 or 4 drones to get some shots before the 30 to 50 mile per hour winds kind of like make it impossible to shoot in the battery life. So he's got some great overhead shots by people who don't by his friends who don't really fly drones and or shoot cameras, like they're not directors. So he's able to do a lot of cool things with some really cool shots and the number of hours out there. So it's a really fun thing, and that's I just love it. I think it's pretty good thing.
It's sort of that perfect combination of like a place we're used to seeing all the time with like completely different, unusual,
right?
Which is perfect. It also reminded me of, I think, the angriest I've seen my parents. We were just driving one day and some kid on a skateboard grabbed our car.
Yeah.
It was basically rolling along attached to the car.
Oh, yes. The Back to the Future thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Some people actually did that. Okay. I didn't but also it was I was very cynical. This is not a news shocker to anyone who knows me, but cynical about the impending Snowmageddon or Snowpocalypse or whatever, because it was coming directly to DC and New York City, and you would not be able to hear anything about anything except how much snow in New York City and DC from news stations, because that's where they're based at, New York.
Right.
So that's what we're going to see. So I was really kind of like, oh, we're going to get this. And it just really kind of bugs me because we have all these news sources on the internet and everything like that, but we still have these like mainstream, if you will, news sources that dictate a good chunk of our change in terms of our news digest. Our diet is going to be about these this snowstorm that's only going to affect these portions of people. And just to see this video of a guy having fun in New York City was just the right antidote.
Well, the thing that's perfect is, I mean, and this is true, I think blizzards are probably the best thing for this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, going out and surfing in a hurricane just doesn't really sound like much fun. I'm gonna ride this tornado, man. It'll be great. But, blizzards have this bizarre combination of, yes, they're dangerous, the cold, the winds, the don't be driving, and oh, man, this is fun. We can roll around. It's like that the picture of the panda at the National Zoo. Did you see that one?
No, what was that about?
Basically, there was also a video of the panda at the National Zoo rolling around in the snow, being totally happy.
I got that one down.
Yeah, I don't think it was nearly as well produced as the snowboarding, but it's hard to get pandas, to do anything they don't want to.
Yeah, pandas gotta do what pandas gotta do.
Yeah, but like blizzards to me are just like this kind of bizarre combination of frozen, terrifying, and wow, can I have one of those? I've been in New York when it got 2 feet of snow. I've been in Ithaca when it got like 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And yeah, it totally disrupts everything. And I was really annoyed that I couldn't get a newspaper for 3 days. And you know, I can live with that though. I think back to like the quiet, to the people building ski jumps on the streets.
Oh yeah.
You just don't get to do that after a flood. It just doesn't.
Oh man, yeah, I lived through a flood. It's not fun at all.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I think that's and I don't know what Austin would do if it suddenly got 2 feet of snow, but
it would freak out. We had a frosting of snow, like just like a little dish, like a little salting of snow, and close the school down. So close the city down the whole entire day, and then it was last year actually, and then another day it happened where they just. I don't know. It was kind of weird. It happened at the right time where the forecast couldn't commit either way, as of right time, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So they closed down the whole entire city, and it turned out to be a beautiful day, but the whole city was off. So, yes. So this city doesn't have any salting or whatever. It had to probably go to the state level to get salting. So it was.
Yeah, I have a salt mine like 10 miles from me. So. Yeah.
So this is grinds to a halt pretty much, and freaks out about it, and I lived in like Chapel Hill when we had like an ice storm come through, and what really gets my goat, like you talk about hurricanes and all that stuff, that this is where I complain a lot, but it's like if we you have a hurricane coming, you have a snowstorm coming, our weather's really great, you just have to like get out of the way, prepare enough time, and then they'll actually, our weather is so awesome compared to like being a caveman at times is like being paleo or whatever. They'll actually tell you a good hour, like within 2 or 3 hours of when something's going to hit. It amazes me because like cities, Chapel Hill, like which is used to snow, which is used to like ice storms every once in a while, whatever, just closed down in the morning, even though the storm was coming in the afternoon. So I couldn't get my errands done that morning or run around because everyone was just freaking out. Gotta get home. I'm like, we have plenty of time. We have like, so it's.
Well, you got to buy your bread, eggs, and milk. It's very important.
I think that's like an instinct that we've not gotten over yet. I don't know.
I flew into Greensboro Airport once right after an ice storm, and I was really grateful to get a cab ride from this Russian guy who clearly knew how to drive on ice. But,
that's the thing. That's the most fearful thing though, is people who don't know how to drive on ice. So
yes,
was he doing like crazy eights on the ice?
No, we were driving down. We were driving down Interstate 40 at about 20 miles an hour, but he knew how to keep us from going off the road. So that was awesome.
Right. Cool.
So,
cool. Well, we did the SVG summit while I think while you guys were doing a design conference, and so that was actually really fun. That was it was a virtual conference, which is it's always good because I feel like it's we reach out people who can't make a physical conference sometimes with great content, and so and we had we had Ryan Ireland from Jingo on. We had Sarah Drasner, who is writing a book with O'Reilly, which is awesome. Which I found that out during the summit, and then so she's doing an advanced animated SVG book for you guys. And then, but her talk is always great. I think I've heard it like 3 times by now. So it's a really great talk. And then, and cause she won Best of CSS.com. And then we had Brenda Storer and Ryan. They did kind of like a basic intro to SVG. And then we had a couple people who just, Chris Gannon and like Dilly Storer, who I've just been doing some awesome things with CSS animations and CSS design. It's SVG animations and SVG design. So just to have them pick their brains, and like it's pretty much like a show and tell type of catalog, type of like what they're thinking. of how they approach things, and so it was really kind of cool to see them deconstruct what they did and how they did it, and it just pretty much just have to learn green sock. I think that's what I came away with.
Yeah,
Just
green sock's making a lot of people happy. I'm just happy that like you had an SVG online conference, because like I did a book. David Eisenberg wrote an SVG Essentials book for us back in like 2002.
Yeah,
and it was a great book. It was one of my favorite books. But then SVG like totally faded from the world.
right.
And we finally did the second edition of that last year.
Yeah, and
now
Amelia
SVG is conquering. Yeah, Amelia is awesome.
Yeah, Amelia was actually she attended the summit, and so we had Chris Coyer do a wrap up session at the end, and I don't know what he was going to do, because we just have a wrap up panel and just take questions from the audience, and we'll just take it from there. But so he did a really good wrap up of the day and tossed in some cool ideas. The slides are available online, so we'll put them in the show notes. But the cool part was that we had a 6-person wrap up panel online, and so we had Amelia was there, so she came online. We had Chris Scannon, Dilly Storer, Brenda Storer was there, and Sarah Drasner came on. So it was just this great roundtable, and people just ask questions and talk to each other, and so it was pretty fun time. And so I think it was a good shot in adrenaline for SVG.
Yeah,
but yeah. And like I was totally with you, like, because I was the old fogey there too, because I was just like, oh, I remember SVG back in 2001, and like Adobe had to plug in because they wanted to compete against Media Flash, and
right. I remember seeing a talk that some Microsoft guy gave that used SVG, and he's like, oh wait, before I say anything, I got to tell you, this does not mean that Microsoft is ever going to support SVG. This is just a demo that I did, but it's the last like year, even the last 6 months, like. Amelia's. You mentioned Sarah Drasner is writing for us. Amelia's also writing for us. She's been doing great things on basically every level of SVG. And the stuff she's working on now is more about kind of integrating it with regular web stuff than just SVG itself, which is really where a lot of the juice is coming from. Like once that became possible, it wasn't just, I'm going to export this thing from Adobe Illustrator. Cool. It was like, wait, this changes the way I do the web. I think my favorite thing was still Estelle Weil's Clown Car, the SVG Clown Car for the responsive images. It was a bizarre hack, brilliant, and it showed you could actually use these things in totally unexpected ways.
Yeah. So and I was the old fogey who brought that one up too, because my claim to fame is actually I gave her the name Clown Car. That's my claim to fame.
Excellent.
So we actually had if you ever join our online events or join live, we give away O'Reilly ebooks for free. You pick one ebook, and so we had the SVG pool of books from O'Reilly, and Amelia had either co-written or written all of them. So it was just like I don't know which book Amelia picked of hers, but
well, she came in as a tech reviewer on SVG Essentials, and David liked her work so much that she became an author, and we've worked with her since on a bunch of other things. So
and so I actually asked him to be a part of the SVG Summit, because I knew he wrote the book in 2001. It'd be awesome to have him be a part of it, but I never heard back from him, so I don't know. So.
He's teaching classes. He may not have been able to.
Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. I met him at the OSCON in Portland, and so I was like, hoping to connect with him. So
I'm actually going to be. We're going to be updating our Introducing Elixir book in a completely different universe of technical stuff. Sarah will be keynoting and giving a talk at Fluent as well. So so lots more SVG coming.
Well, I mean, let's see. Other than that, I've been in kind of different worlds.
Okay.
So I was like WordPress world for a little bit, and then I've had the SVG world a bit, and so now I'm getting to a little bit of JavaScript, but not too much. I mean, so it's been kind of crazy. I haven't really noticed any hot drama, but since we talked, I've been sick for 2 weeks, so it's been kind of like catching up with the world.
Yeah, I had just the kind of the travel recovery time, but I think I just barely dodged getting sick. We'll see. I mean, I've got a couple of things going that have me thinking. one is I've been working really slowly on this woodworking book, basically a book for beginners written by a beginner, which is always a dangerous thing to do. But I was thinking of it as a book, and then sometime over the holidays, I was like, most people are going to read this on the web anyway. Why am I doing this as a book? And I'd been using O'Reilly tools. I'd been, thinking of like this linear form and all of this kind of like, here's how the pages go, here's how this goes. And I decided that really wasn't going to work. Even though like the core of the book is a linear sequence, there's just all this stuff off the side that I wanted to do.
Right.
And then I started looking at my stuff as a website, and like it all fell apart. So like the whole joy of crossing media, like I've got to come up with a whole new set of structures. I'm still sort of hanging on to Jen's talk from an event apart about the formatting, because I've got all of these options now. I should actually use some. I've got a project where if it breaks, it's okay. It's not a crisis. So that's been just kind of fun, like falling back into the, how do I design this stuff and make it actually look good? Mm-hmm. I even found that like my copywriting felt terrible. Things that looked fine on a printed page felt hideous on the web. That hasn't happened to me in a while. The other really odd thing, and this is web related but sort of different, is that I've been using all kinds of stuff in Google Docs for work and for some other stuff. And I've kind of reached the point where it's annoying me. I mean, like I don't like spreadsheets anyway. I could do pivot tables if I have to, really. But there's all of this Google application script stuff, which, I mean, it's giving me flashbacks to VBA on Microsoft Excel and stuff. But and it's weird because I'm on the web, but it's not quite web programming, but it's kind of like that. And what do I do with this? That's just kind of got me thinking about all the strange new places the web is going. It will probably keep going. I have really like strangely churning feelings about this, but we'll see how it all feels.
Like, what do you mean? Like feelings about like where it's going, or?
Well, like I sort of grew up with, it's the web, and we're going to do all of these things in classic standardized approaches, and with the Google application scripts, it's like, yes, JavaScript, but all of these objects are like not the ones that I remember from my dynamic HTML days. They don't even look like. There's just all kinds of things that are similar but weirdly different. Mm-hmm. And I just gotta kind of reorient myself. Mostly I want to create some things that I want to create some interfaces that look better than spreadsheets and share them with people. And as I'm doing this, I'm kind of like, I can do it in this, but why can't I just do it as a web page? Oh, because I'm locked into this other world that's on the web but not of the web. It's just kind of a weird, like, Hall of Mirrors feeling.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how much stuff you do that's like web-like but not on the web.
Maybe I should do more web stuff offline, I guess. I don't know. Is that...
Yeah, I sort of had this feeling when I was working on that iPhone application with Jen Robbins.
Yeah.
The HTML thing, because that was all targeted to iPhone and iPad, and that felt weird too.
Yeah.
But at least it was all like familiar programming pieces that I'd used for years, so it wasn't quite as strange.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, one thing I did do is talk to Jeffrey Zillman.
Oh yeah.
And we did the podcast and talk about it was kind of a little bit morbid some parts, but just kind of about the because it was David Bowie had died,
right?
Not too long ago, and I'm still trying to like process that because I didn't know I'm a big David Bowie fan, and so just to go back and to his catalog and see his life work, not just his life but just his work, and just see how much work he did in the 70s alone was just amazing. I guess that's where he made his name. It's just crazy, and his ability to, hey, for this album I'm gonna be art punk rock space guy, and then this next one I'm gonna be more soul, and to be able to have the fearlessness to change styles and push it out there and to do a great job with it. each time, or at least or like it wasn't probably number one hits pretty much, but it was just to be able to say it's a solid record, just like, hey, this is a solid record,
Right.
which most artists, bands can't say, like, oh, at least he put out 9, 12 songs on his album that pretty solid. And I was just like, well, that's pretty awesome. He's able to, and like within like 5 years or so, he's able to push out like 5 or so albums. I felt like holy cow, that's a great role model almost in a way to have like that. And so, and then we talked about, of course, the death and the morbid part was that on his birthday, a couple days before he died, he put out this Black Star album with the song Lazarus on it, and everyone was like, oh, ho hum when it came out. It was like, oh, this is really great. He put it out for his birthday, and then 2 days later he dies. And then you go back and then you like re-examine it on this new contextualized, like, oh, he was dying for cancer for 18 months, like what? And then you re-examine the video and the album, and it's like, oh man, it's such to go out on your, well, I mean, you don't want to go out, but it's like to go out on your, as much of a creative terms as he could.
Yeah.
Dealing with everything is just amazing. And how many
apparently it's his first number one album too.
Yeah. And then to be able to do that, and I'm sure his back catalog is getting like a re-examined. In fact, the music industry, 2015, like their back catalog sold more songs, sold more in terms of money than the songs written that year, like all the new songs written that year. So every Kanye West song, every Pitbull song that you heard sold, all the new stuff sold less in the back catalog. And that's the first time it's happened ever, I think. So I think it shows you like, I don't think, I hate to say like it shows you like new music sucks, because I feel like I'm an old guy saying that, but it just feels like just shows you how much easy access we have to a back catalog than we'd have before, right? You can just go to a record store and get music now. Now you can go and get anyone's back catalog really cheap and easily than you could ever before. So it's pretty, I think it says a lot too about preservation of our data, of our work. And then that got us thinking about the work that we do for the web, right? So the web pages that we work are like, they're temporary things. Like, and my metaphor is like, we're trying to build the greatest, or the greatest everlasting sandcastle. So it's just like, but no matter how awesome our sandcastle is going to be, it's going to be wiped away by the ocean, or some new people are going to come on to step on it or whatnot. Because even I make this point, like Jeffrey Zavine said, like even news websites are going to have the same old article if they really store it, but it's going to have new ads placed all over it. And so the context of the newspaper article, in a newspaper as a timepiece is going to be totally lost. So like you can't, like, do we put like an iPad in a time capsule and just put that in there or whatever? So, but yeah, so like it's like I think like, well, what do we do with our work as a fixed point? And so that got me thinking about the book that people always contemplate about book of the future. Was the book future of the book look like? And my mentor in college worked on a project called the Future of the Book, and so I helped out with that project as well. But I think we always compare the future of the book, or the future like album of the book, because it's the gold standard, because the books are going to be around, and they've been around for so long. I don't see them going away anytime. It's just so. But when you compare that to the website, it's just like, if like David Bowie dies, passed away, right? Like, what's his website gonna look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And then what if like Joe Schmo, web designer, like, what does your website look like? Like if one of their like his ancestors come around, like, hey, what do you do? Like, oh, well, he did some websites. That's cool. Like, do you have any work to show for it? Like, no, not really. I don't. Yeah, am I bumming out everyone? I'm not sure.
No, I mean, it's like, it's kind of funny. Like, even with my sort of living site, I really need to do like a major update. I did a bad RSS feed thing a few years ago and haven't updated anything. Yeah. But there are parts of it that I basically intend to leave in deep freeze.
Yeah,
because they they're the way they were when I first wrote them, and I don't think there's any reason to change them. And I could. I did at one point change a style sheet on one of my older sites from sans serif to serif.
There you go.
because I was feeling, fancy or something. But it is kind of a weird thing. Like even though I'm still, working with books, I spend less time physically with books than I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly less time physically with O'Reilly books.
Right.
But when we publish a book, like part of the weird promise of a book is that if any one of those copies just happens to survive someplace, even if the rest of them get pulped, you still have the whole thing.
Right.
On the web, I mean, we have the Internet Archive, which sort of sometimes helps things. But it's not the same kind of like permanent physical memory. I also listen to a fair amount of like 20s and 30s music, and reading the stories of these people who'd like go out like looking for old 78s, and it sort of got into this like bizarre competition between them for who could get the best quality copy of this obscure record and pay the least for it and stuff like that. But I think it seems to have been a bad month for rock stars generally. But I think that's got a lot of us thinking about, so what lingers on after we're gone, or what even lingers on after we lose interest. I mean, that's been something else that's happened on the web a few times. People have just said, okay, I've had enough. 410 on.
Right.
So
even like, was it Mark Pilgrim wrote a great HTML5 reference. I mean, just, he's really great reference. He's just like, oh, I'm gone. And he was tired of dealing with, I think he was just tired of dealing with people who wrote to him and say like, hey, can you answer this HTML5 question? I guess people assumed he was the HTML5 spec holder or guru about HTML troubleshooting. And so he just turned it off. And then so everyone kind of grabbed people around HTML5, like they put like, I think it's on GitHub now. They made a GitHub repo and pointed it up there. So it's not lost to the edges. We're able like, oh, okay, we have it. Yeah. And we got to redirect it. But, still it's like, and then
Why the Lucky Stiff did similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, and then do only pop culture things survive than other things. So, but you talk about records and music, like there's a great documentary I saw at South by Southwest called 78 Project, the 78 Project.
Okay.
And I think it's a crowd-funded movie project, and they just wrapped up, from what I could tell, their movie. And you actually download it from what's I think it's the 78 Project. Just do a Google search for that. And what they do is actually they go out and find great artists who know a song that that's, I forget what the type of song it is, but it's like kind of folk art music, and they have a machine that will record the audio wherever you are, like a record, and you'll get one chance at it. So it only records one side, and so they actually find the people in the middle, like nowhere, pretty much, and say, okay, we just sing a song, and we'll go to your house, go to nowhere, and just record it, and record this music. And so that's probably lost. And they one of the, I forget his name, but one of the people they found was like this guy who just collects vinyl. There's records that you can't really find anymore, and his whole house is just like vinyl records. So
there's a picture somewhere of a guy's bathtub full of records.
Oh, jeez, yeah. And then, yeah, I guess the insert joke about mail servers in bathrooms here, but anyway.
Yes.
So we'll come back to the later piece here. Come back. Yeah. So it's just what do we do to retain our copy? And so I think that goes to, like, if you're a young designer listening to this, I would say make sure to save copies, do a screenshot of your work, of your code, and make sure you store it locally. And that gets me thinking about Sean, who used to work at South by Southwest, used to South by South Interactive for a while, and he gave a great keynote at a Drupal conference in Austin. And this goes back to one of the reasons why I'm going back into WordPress and learning more about it, is that it's like, just own your own stuff and don't rely on Facebook and to host your photos or whatnot, just because they'll just shut down, and you'll lose your photos, lose your memories, lose your postings. And
GeoCities,
yeah. Who was I talking to? Was it Brenda? I think it was Brenda. She built a GeoCities website. She was able to save it because I think it was Brenda. She was able to save it because she burned the files onto a CD-ROM, and she had just discovered it one day off his folder off to the side on the CD-ROM, and she uploaded it to GitHub. So now her GCDs page, I think it's about Robbie Williams, is saved for all time. So we go, oh, okay, cool. But hopefully, I don't know. But
yeah, I almost lost a bunch of stuff when AOL shut down its personal website stuff.
Yeah, or when when Apple shut down their web page hosting service. There's a lot of great plugins and great tech stuff that was hosted on Apple sites and service account. So yeah, so just so save what you do, but it also just goes back to Jeremy Keith's idea as well as from the keynote from Sean, was just able to post your own stuff, own it, and so that's one of the beautiful things that got me interested in the web in the first place. I think that's where I guess I'm trying to find my own inspiration, the original inspiration again. I guess I may have lost along the way. I don't think I lost it, but just like I haven't really done it. But it's just published again, on my own site, and to be able to say, hey, Facebook, you can have this, but you have to I'm just going to shoot a copy to you and not post it on your site, and then just have it be on my site and host it there, and so just to do it that way. And so
I've got to get back to doing that. I mean, some of the stuff that's inspiring me on this is the indie web stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of techniques and tricks and tools to make these things go more easily. Right. But for the last, 5 years, I've probably been doing almost all of my writing on other people's sites.
Yeah.
I still have a movable type site running. Movable type itself isn't running because some upgrade killed it. But because it's static content, it's all still happy in there. This is also reminding me of a lot of XML conversation I used to go to was about archival formats, and text-based formats would make it easier for us to figure out what happened in a million years when people are doing the archaeology of this stuff. And there are all these concerns that XML would just, people would create their own vocabularies and nobody would know what the vocabularies meant anymore. And
right.
I always thought that was kind of overblown because it's usually not that much harder to read the markup than it is to read the text. But anyway, at this point, it almost seems to me like HTML has kind of become that archival format.
Yeah.
It's a living archival format. I'm not saying it's dead, no. But it's so ubiquitous. It's actually had, for a medium, in current times, it's lasting quite nicely.
Yeah, it's pretty good. If you have a browser and you have your web page, it should work. So
yeah, and even if you don't know what a browser is and you look at it, you can for some stuff you can figure it out. If you actually look at the Google homepage, don't try to figure it out.
Yeah. But then pretty much. Yeah, so I think it goes back to just, I think, just owning who you are. I think that goes to what you publish, and I think that's also something we've been kind of grappling with, just being okay publishing what you do, and that goes back to just being inspired by the New York snow skiing guy, because he's got too many viewers now, but not that this has anything to do with popularity, but it's just I think he was successful in that he got too many subscribers gradually, but then within 6 months he went from 1 million over 4 or 5 years, got to 100 million subscribers to 2 million subscribers within 6 months, and part of that was just practicing and vlogging every day, and not that means anything, popularity, fame, or whatever that it comes and goes, but I just feel like it just makes you a better writer. It makes you your thoughts get crystallized more, and you get to share your ideas to more people quickly if you actually capture them and crystallize them. And then if you write great HTML, maybe 200 years from now, people will find your bad poetry. I don't know. So.
Yeah, well, it's all about the bad poetry. It always is. It's very important.
I got to own the bad poetry, but yeah.
Yes. Well, we should, do something where we're carving it into stone, and then maybe that'll last more than a week.
Some tablets, but yeah, I don't know, man. Then I have to go find the refrigerated room cold storage tablets so they don't turn to powder, and then if you get the wrong tablets, they'll.
That's true.
You got to put them in an ark, and you put the Ark of the Covenant. Then
it's really difficult. And actually, looking at old gravestones makes me think this is harder than I'm thinking. So
yeah. Even the gravestones at with Boston, and there's this with their unique style and everything like that. Like
Yeah.
the bus tour, like the Red Line tour they have there. It's just man, yeah, just you don't know who's buried half the time. So and yeah, so I don't know. But that's why you need GPS and units and for smartphones and be able to track.
Yeah. There actually are, like, the genealogists are all over this kind of stuff, like knowing all of who's in there and where. And I'm not sure they've really reached the point of using GPS for individual graves, but I'm sure somebody's working on it. GPS will get that next level of accuracy and we'll be all good.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be morbid, but it just comes out naturally.
Well,
Like,
it's winter.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and yeah, I guess so.
It's winter. It's been a bad year for rock stars.
Winter killed the rock star. Oh no.
There we go. Well, it's also good to stop once in a while and think about where the stuff is going. Actually, when I was at CSS DevConf last year, one of the big divides I found in the audience was between people who create a site and then like move on and forget about it and do the next one, and the people who are stuck there maintaining.
Oh wow, yeah.
And like their attitudes towards how to use CSS were really strikingly different.
Yeah.
That was, you know, I tend to be the guy who's stuck maintaining things, so I want everyone else to be stuck with me. But, you know, for a lot of people, it is kind of a once and done.
Yeah.
So having conversations like this one that kind of at least make them think, okay, so I've done this once, it's done. What now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's also liberating in that you can actually build a small project and then you move on, and so it's self-contained and you can just don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's pretty good to do that too. But yeah, so just keep on building small projects. So
well, that's how I like doing it. I mean, the woodworking book thing has me a little worried because it's clearly bigger than anything else I've done in a long time.
Yeah.
And it has the potential just to keep growing. So am I like chaining myself to a Leviathan? I guess I'll find out. I don't know if anybody's going to. That's the two big fears. One, is anybody going to want to read this at all? Will anybody ever look at this stuff? When they come in from Google, are they just going to bounce right off? And then the other one is, oh, God, if this is popular, what do I do then? Oh!
Those are problems to have, my friend. So
that's true.
But yeah, I think it's kind of weird because like we talked about this Zellman, and like he actually has like I'm holding up a mouse pad.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have one or not.
I don't have one, but those are awesome.
Yeah. So web safe color palette, which is cubed and rectangular in nature, like it's for engineers. And so I just like, hey, I take a web safe palette, I put it in a color wheel, slap it on a mouse pad because everyone has to have a mouse pad. And sold like 20,000 of them at least. I don't know. I forgot.
All right.
And then laser pointer Mice's mouse, I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
It came out and then everyone didn't really need one. And so I actually people complained like, I don't really need one because my mouse doesn't need one. I think, yeah, cool, whatever. And then the monitors got better and didn't really need to sell it. But the reason why I bring that up is because like I get to the mentality of like, I really don't care what people think. I really want one.
Right.
And I could be crazy enough to put this on a mouse pad, but because I really want one. And so I had to invest and buy 500 of these mouse pads to get one. And I was just like, great. Now I have to go sell $4.99 of these because I can't have them in my garage. And they sold out. And I was like, holy cow. I guess I'll print some more for a while. And then for that. And so, and you just never know. Like you have to be crazy enough to want it is my rationale behind that. Just because like you need if you want it for yourself, I think, and you want it so badly that you want to put a shit out there. I think you just have to go do it. And so that's and I think this book is going to be awesome for you. So I think if you really want to do it, just do it, and then not think about what other people think about it. So
I think my rules for writing are kind of the same as my rules for programming. If nobody else has really done what I want, then I will go out and try to do it.
Right.
Like I'm not a great programmer. You don't want me really writing lots of code, but I can do it if I have to and nobody else is doing it. Okay, I'm in.
Right.
And with writing, it's like, okay, yeah, I've read a lot of books. None of them are what I want. Okay, let's try this other thing. Yeah. I don't have to buy 500 copies, though, if I put it on the web. That's all pretty easy.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be a print edition eventually, though, and then I'll have to figure it out.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah,
So,
I see, and this is the power of the printing press. Comes from a guy who, like, I started out in journalism and newspaper, and it's go. Part of my job was sometimes just to go check the printing press of a newspaper and see if they had any, like, the people who work there, see if they had any issues, and which has never happened, which is like whatever. But
right.
big printing press, and it's just like before the web, it was just like the joke is like whoever has a printing press, it's not really a joke because I can't remember the punchline, but it controls the news, and so all you need is your own printing press, but they only cost like $1 million and tons of ink, and which costs money and stuff like that too. So to be able to own your own printing press is legendary, and to have people who own their own business because it's their brand, because they own their own websites. It's kind of an amazing thing. Just I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because you don't have to own the printing press anymore unless you're doing letterpress.
Right.
And there is like a giant magazine printer like a quarter mile from my house, and I've never been inside, and I really want to, and now I've got to go ask. But the thing is, like, you can print all the stuff you want, but you still have that problem of is anybody looking.
Right.
And when it used to be limited to people who had printing presses, there were just a few of them. So of course everybody was looking because it was only 2 or 3 things that they could kind of favorite. That part of it has really changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out how to like shoot videos of snowboarding in Times Square to get
exactly. Yeah.
visitors tonight.
Oh man, because I went to that what is it, that YouTube conference, VidCon, right? And I actually went to workshop, air quotes, workshop, about how to make a viral video, right? So I was like, and and there was absolutely nothing that you like no one knows how to make a viral video, right? So people can know how to make so it's kind of like just worked it in the round of like how to make an idea for a viral video sound, make it authentic, make it unique, make it edgy, but then you still need to do the editing of it, and you still need to do so even if you have something awesome and you need to edit it in terms of a manufactured viral video, not like something that's actually like really just something awesome going on, but you still need to edit it, and you still need to game plan for it, and so there's just a lot of work involved, and no one knows what makes a viral video. So it was my upshot from learning about that. So so the only thing to do is practice snowboarding in New York City is what I'm coming down to, really. It's just
the blizzard I was there for last time, I tried to go cross-country skiing in Central Park, but other people had the idea before we did, so all the skis were rented. But bring your own snowboard, definitely.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man, well, I think we just killed it. I think we just brought everyone down in the audience if there's listening.
With the snowboard, or with there's no way to create a viral video predictably.
Yeah, that too. I think that's
actually the real problem. If we could all create viral videos predictably, everything would be beautiful and happy. And we wouldn't even be worried about how long these things would last, because there'd always be more viral videos.
Oh, man. Oh, geez.
I think about the poor guy, Psy, coming up with something after Gangnam Style. Like, how do you
follow that up, right?
How do you can't. It's just not possible.
Well, it's too famous now. Yeah. You can't.
Or you do what Bowie does and just change everything completely.
Well, I think Bowie, this could be totally wrong, but from what little like scratching the Bowie biography that I've done, is that he got famous and kind of aloof, which is totally Bowie, whatever, and that he couldn't reconnect a little bit to society. So like I feel like that's the problem. It's like and that's the main worry, probably, with just becoming famous and stuff. But I'm willing to tackle that problem head on if I need to, right? So if I become famous, I'll just deal with it in the best way possible.
Neither of us are Bowie famous, but we do get these strange moments where we're up on stage and running the show and all of that kind of stuff. And that's pretty weird as it is. I don't even really want to know what it's like to be Bowie famous.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So it's just I don't know what my point was for that, but it was just I just feel like there's gonna be like I don't know what my point was for that. But kind of just brain fart right there. Awesome. What did I just say before?
Well, we were talking about how we've put everybody down. I think we need to come up with like some bouncing pandas or something to make
Bouncy
everybody
Pants.
happy.
Oh yeah. So bouncing pandas for everyone. Ah man. So yeah. Let's see what else is anything else going on besides our life? I don't know. I was sick for 2 weeks.
Going.
Nothing really. Nothing really going on. I don't know. Let's see what Let's see what I've been working on. Get my to-do list out. See what's going on.
I'm sorry, what?
Get my to-do list out. See what I've been working on.
Oh, your to-do list. Oh, no.
Yeah, so I don't know. Oh, CS DevConf has been working on. That's been
excellent.
Yeah, I've been working on the new one. So trying to get all our ducks in a row. We're supposed to announce this week. That's kind of got me down. That's probably why I'm more ready. So we're supposed to announce this week, but our venues can kind of I just want to tell you what the problem is. Like one of the major problems is, okay, so the venue, I love the venue. I'm gonna love the location. It's different than what we've done before.
Mm-hmm.
So we do okay. And so we will announce the venue, but we want to make sure we have the people can register for the hotel right away. They get locking great rates, whatever you do, right? So we actually kind of like work them down off their price point a little bit, so it's a little cheaper for people to show up. So great. So they give us a link to the reservations reservation system. Awesome. It happens to be this clip art of like little weeble wobble people, like nondescript people, blue colored, all with ties on, all male, like fingers, right? Male icons, right? Except and then there's just one big red one with a suitcase, right? I guess the guy with red has a suitcase, and I'm like, I could have gone with a nondescript photo, like photo of the hotel, like some like. You can show me like anything within the hotel, but you get me like a bunch of male icons.
Is it on Mars?
Huh?
It just sounds like it's on Mars, but no.
Yeah. I feel like talking to like Ari about this is like, I think they think someone did a good job, and they like made it different, and like I was like, oh man. So we've been waiting like 2 or 3 days for them to change it. We actually made our own photographics like to give to them and say like, it could be a hotel photo that you have. Here's one I took of your venue when I was there.
Right.
So cropped, optimized.
Right.
So and then they were like, so we're waiting for that to actually happen.
Yeah, I would be worried like registering for the hotel would turn me blue or something.
Yeah, he's like, am I seeing the Blue Man group here? Like, what's going on? But yeah, so that's been kind of a hold up, but so I've been waiting. I've made this announcement for it, and it's just been like. Just been waiting. So
I'm just glad it's soon. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So that's about it for me. I think. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting geared up for Fluent, which is in March. So I'm happily staying home until then. So that's a good thing.
Yes. So yeah, we're staying home we're not doing a lot of traveling this year, so that's pretty good. Yeah. So Fluent's what is Fluent?
Fluent's March 7 to 10. There's training on the 7th and 8th, and then there's the workshops are the 8th, and then the 9th and 10th is what everyone thinks of as the conference. So yeah, I'll be out in San Francisco for that. But until then, I'm home. I don't have to deal with Snowmageddon unless it comes here, in which case I'll be a lot happier about it.
Yeah, cool. And then, I do have a question for you, like before we wrap up.
Yeah.
Why do we you are awesome at Facebook and posting on Facebook, but it's a walled garden. Like, and I like Facebook. I post a lot more on Facebook. Why do we do that? Like, why do we?
Well, so the reason I post there is I'm kind of making my Twitter account more of a work account because I just couldn't find ways to make Twitter work like for fun conversation that I was into. Mm-hmm. I have friends there. I'm still going to talk to them. It's all good, but it's just a lot less conversational.
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook, partly because people at least kind of sort of know each other. Yeah. And they mostly know me. I do have a few friends on Facebook who I never have actually met or talked to outside of that context, but not a lot. Okay. My favorite is a friend who found me through another friend who I'm no longer friends with. So, she's awesome. He's not. That's fine. But I find, if I post something, and I probably post too much, sometimes I get silence, and that's fine. But sometimes I get, real conversation on a level that I just can't find certainly not in Twitter. And occasionally I would get in comment sections or similar things like that. On, like the O'Reilly site, I would sometimes have great comment threads. On my own blogs, I would sometimes have conversations that were useful.
Mhm.
But my odds of getting a real conversation are a lot higher on Facebook than they are other places.
Is that
But
because
still,
you? Is that because of like people?
I don't
Like
know.
because of friends and family, they know you, they feel safe talking
Well,
to
it's
you.
interesting because like I a friend of mine is like 180 degrees away from my politics.
Yeah.
And she's awesome. She writes fiction. She does all of these other things that are great, but she never ever comments on a political thread of mine. And then
Mm.
she posted the other day, and I wrote her a thank you note because I was like, "Thank you. This is great. You came over. I know it was different, but thanks." I think to some extent, yes. I mean, people on Facebook are kind of self-segregating. I know who the likely suspects are to post on my political posts or my technical posts, my family posts. Um, if I post on things Irish and tragic, I get yes. I know who will respond, and it's always good conversation. It's just like I sort of know, and I think over time they've kind of gotten to know each other.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a bit. I'm maybe a little obsessive with liking people's comments.
No.
That helps some too. I feel weird about because it doesn't mean I agree with them,
Right.
but I think we've all sort of figured that out. I wish I could have more conversations like that were electronic but were not in Facebook.
Mhm.
It still doesn't compare to some of like the epic stories I've heard of the well or
Mhm.
Usenet in its best days or that kind of thing.
Yeah, like pre-spam, pretty much.
Yeah, pre-spam. That's a lot of it.
Right. Yeah, because like I think Facebook does is it actually it goes by the comments, right? Because the comments, your name is there, right? They will. I don't know what it's been a while since I signed up for Facebook, but you actually have to be the person signing up for it. You can't be like usually most cases you can't be a spoof account, and since your friends there or your family's there, and you want to connect with them, you're more inclined to use your own name. And I remember sites actually drop their comment system for their blog system and actually use Facebook's comment system just because more people are inclined to be nicer to each other because their comments will probably show up on Facebook if they are.
Yeah, it sort of works. I mean, like looking at my local newspaper's comments, it definitely reduced the volume of violence and spam.
Okay.
But then there are also like there's some groups that I follow that are like local history groups, or there's like an Ithaca Issues group. There's still a lot of fire and brimstone in there, really random fire and brimstone. So even though it's in the walled garden, even though you don't have the totally random noise, even when people know each other to some extent, it's not always paradise.
All right.
There's a lot more active. I don't know. I don't feel like I really moderate stuff like people used to moderate comments, but there is something more about like participating and not just kind of broadcasting stuff and then seeing what people throw against it.
Okay.
It's a weird thing. I have hopes. I don't like to say that Facebook gives me hope because it doesn't usually. But just kind of seeing that conversation space makes me think that there is more we can do with this on the broader web.
Okay.
It's just going to take a lot of time, a lot of care. And actually, the other awkward thing is like I've been posting on Facebook for like 7 years now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to imagine. I do download like my complete set of whatever every now and then. But that the fact that it's been around that long and that we've had conversations for all this time, I think also is a lot of it. There's some of that on Twitter. There are people I've known on Twitter since I signed up for Twitter, and I kind of know who they are.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I think it's also for people who are non-techie to get Facebook and stay on Facebook and then make their own thing. So
yes, my Facebook feed definitely still trends techie, but it's way less techie than say my Twitter stuff or pretty much any other venue I'm in. So
right. Okay.
That may help with the conversation too.
All right. Sometimes I feel like an idiot for posting in a walled garden all the time.
Well, no, it is a walled garden. It's terrible. I totally know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do have that information wants to be free virus, and that's part of why I'm doing the woodworking thing as a site instead of a book.
Right.
But if I can't have a real conversation out in the wilds of the desert, I'm going to find a quieter place to do it.
Right. I guess.
That's a really bad metaphor, but
That's like I was trying to parse that one. I'm sorry.
This year has been like the worst. Like I just am spewing random bad mixed metaphors like since the year began. So forgive me.
All right. So
yeah,
I say the best person I know about metaphors is Porter in DC. Actually, so maybe we should do a master class in metaphors. But
that's a good idea. Yeah. I would love a master class in metaphors. Maybe I'm crazy.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Well, it's been great. Simon, how can people find you on the internet and learn more about Fluent?
Well, the easy place to find me on Twitter is at SIMONSTL. Fluent is at fluentconf.com, FLUENTCONF.com. And there you can find the conference. We have actually added one in Amsterdam in November too. So nice. When you go there, you'll see the March thing and the November thing. And right now we're all about the March thing. Yeah, Twitter's a good place to start to find me though. So yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Simon. This has been great.
Thank you. This has been great. The morbid is all good.
Get out of our system in January so we can move on.
Exactly.
No more dead rock stars, please.
No.